The Middle East, a land of ancient history and modern ambition. In May 2025, it became the stage for another Trump spectacle. This time, it wasn't a campaign rally or a reality show. It was a 4-day whirlwind tour. Trump, ever the showman, combined cultural diplomacy with hard-nosed business. Mega deals were announced, controversies erupted, and through it all, Trump remained the center of attention. This wasn't just another diplomatic trip, it was a Trump production from start to finish. The goal? To project American power, to forge new alliances, and to remind the world that when it came to deal-making, Donald Trump wrote the book. Or at least, that's what he wanted everyone to believe. From the moment he stepped off Air Force One, it was clear this was no ordinary diplomatic visit. This was vintage Trump, with all the bluster and bravado that implied. The stakes were high, the personalities even bigger, and the outcome far from certain. The world watched, holding its breath as Trump plunged headfirst into the intricate and often volatile world of Middle Eastern politics. The stage was set for a diplomatic drama unlike any other. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, a city of shimmering skyscrapers and ancient traditions. It was here that Trump kicked off his Middle Eastern adventure. His host was none other than Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the kingdom's de facto ruler. The Saudis, known for their lavish hospitality, rolled out the red carpet. There were state dinners, opulent palaces, and even a ride in a golf cart with MBS himself. The highlight, however, was the Arda, a traditional sword dance. Trump, never one to shy away from a photo op, joined the dancers. He swayed, he smiled, and he even attempted a few moves of his own. The message was clear. Trump was in Saudi Arabia to make friends and do business. The Arda was more than just a dance, it was a symbol of the close relationship between the United States and Saudi Arabia. A relationship built on oil, security, and a shared vision for the Middle East. The Saudi leg of the tour wasn't all spectacle and ceremony. Behind the scenes, serious business was being conducted. Trump, a self-proclaimed master negotiator, came prepared to make deals. And deals he made. By the time he left Riyadh, Trump had signed agreements worth a staggering $600 billion. The crown jewel was a $142 billion arms deal, one of the largest in U.S. history. This deal, Trump boasted, would create jobs in America and bolster Saudi Arabia's defenses against its regional rivals. The arms deal, however, wasn't without its critics. Human rights groups were outraged. They argued that the weapons would likely be used against civilians in Yemen, where Saudi Arabia was engaged in a brutal civil war. But Trump was undeterred. He brushed aside the criticism, insisting that the arms deal was essential for U.S. national security. He needed to show strength, to prove that America was still a force to be reckoned with in the region. In a move that surprised even his closest advisors, Trump agreed to meet with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. The meeting, which took place in Riyadh, was the first between a U.S. and Syrian leader in over 2 decades. Relations between the two countries had been frozen since the outbreak of the Syrian civil war in 2011. The U.S. had backed rebel groups fighting to overthrow Assad, while Russia and Iran had provided crucial support to the Syrian regime. The meeting was brief, but significant. It marked a potential thaw in relations between the two countries. Trump, in a move praised by some Democrats, announced the partial lifting of U.S. sanctions on Syria. He called it a gesture of goodwill and a first step towards ending the Syrian conflict. Others, however, were more skeptical. They saw it as a concession to Assad and a betrayal of the Syrian people. Only time would tell whether Trump's gamble would pay off. Section 5. Qatari opulence. A welcome fit for a tycoon. From Riyadh, Trump flew to Doha, the capital of Qatar. The tiny but wealthy Gulf nation welcomed Trump with a level of opulence that even he must have found impressive. His motorcade, for instance, consisted of Tesla Cybertrucks, a touch that seemed tailor-made for the former reality TV star. And if that wasn't enough, the Emir of Qatar presented Trump with a truly jaw-dropping gift, a custom Boeing 747-8 private jet, worth an estimated $400 million. The gift, while undoubtedly extravagant, raised eyebrows back home. Critics questioned the propriety of accepting such a lavish present from a foreign government. They argued that it violated diplomatic protocol and could be seen as a bribe. Trump, however, brushed off the criticism. He insisted that the jet was simply a token of friendship and that he would donate it to the American people. It was a classic Trump move: accept the gift, deflect the criticism, and move on. Section 6, $1 trillion tech, building the future with Qatar. The true focus of Trump's visit to Qatar, however, wasn't on luxury gifts. It was on business, specifically in the tech sector. Qatar, eager to diversify its economy beyond oil and gas, had been investing heavily in technology, and Trump, never one to miss a business opportunity, was keen to get in on the action. The two leaders announced a staggering $1.2 trillion in agreements, covering everything from artificial intelligence to data infrastructure. The centerpiece of the deal was a $96 billion contract for Qatar Airways to purchase 160 Boeing jets. The agreements, Trump proclaimed, were a win-win for both countries. They would create jobs in America, boost Qatar's tech sector, and cement the already strong ties between the two nations. Whether these ambitious plans would come to fruition, however, remained to be seen. Section 7, the UAE Mosques, Microchips, and Middle East Peace. The final stop on Trump's whirlwind tour was the United Arab Emirates. The UAE, long a key U.S. ally in the region, welcomed Trump with open arms. He toured the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque in Abu Dhabi, a stunning display of Islamic architecture. He met with business leaders discussing investment opportunities in the Emirates, but the highlight of his visit was the announcement of a major new initiative, a partnership between the U.S. Department of Commerce and the UAE's Group 42 to build a cutting-edge AI data center in Abu Dhabi. The center, Trump declared, would be a beacon of innovation and would cement the UAE's status as a global tech hub. The UAE visit was a reminder of the complex web of relationships that define the Middle East. The Emirates, while a close U.S. ally, also maintained strong ties with China and Russia. Trump, in his meetings with UAE leaders, had to navigate these competing interests carefully. Section 8, a nuclear chess game, Trump's Iranian Gambit. Looming over Trump's entire Middle East tour was the issue of Iran. The Islamic Republic, long a thorn in the side of the U.S. and its allies in the region, was actively pursuing its nuclear ambitions. The Biden administration had been engaged in indirect talks with Iran, seeking to revive the 2015 nuclear deal that Trump had unilaterally withdrawn from in 2018. Trump, during his trip, made it clear that he had no intention of rejoining the deal. Instead, he used his platform to ratchet up the pressure on Iran. He met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, reaffirming the U.S.'s unbreakable bond with Israel and vowing to counter Iranian aggression in the region. He also used his speeches to denounce Iran's nuclear program and its support for terrorist groups. His tough talk was music to the ears of his allies in Israel and Saudi Arabia. But critics warned that his rhetoric could backfire, potentially leading to a dangerous escalation of tensions in the region. Section 9, the price of peace, ethical shadows and lingering questions. Trump's Middle East tour was a whirlwind of diplomacy, deal-making and controversy. He had showered his hosts with praise, signed billions of dollars worth of agreements, and made headlines around the world. But as the dust settled, questions lingered about the true impact of his trip. The ethical concerns surrounding the extravagant gifts he received, particularly the $400 million Boeing jet from Qatar, refused to go away. Critics argued that these gifts violated diplomatic norms and raised serious questions about potential conflicts of interest. The long-term impact of Trump's trip on U.S. foreign policy remained unclear. His decision to meet with Syrian President Assad was a significant departure from previous U.S. policy, but it was too early to say whether it would lead to a lasting peace in Syria. And his tough talk on Iran, while welcomed by some, risked escalating tensions in an already volatile region. Trump's Middle East tour was a spectacle, a display of his unique brand of personal diplomacy. But whether it would ultimately advance U.S. interests in the region or simply serve to enrich Trump and his allies was a question that only time could answer.